looking at what motivates the Gen Z, I didn't find anything on there in the pay and benefits. It was all about purpose, working in a supportive and environment and a collaborative culture, providing a healthy work-life balance where they don't want to spend their entire life being all about their job, which is a huge difference from what the past generations were all about, right? We're all supposed to work our tails off and then just not have a social life or have a minimal life. The big part of the pie is all about work, work, work. And Gen Z right now is like, you know what? No, I need my time off. They're looking for benefits that are paid benefits, but not so much paid in terms of cash value, but maybe more time off, PTO, a little bit easier work-life balance schedule where they're not getting just hammered time after time after time. And it's interesting that I didn't see anything about high pay being challenging or one of the main attractive benefactors of coming into the profession for that generation. And that's anyone in their current 20s right now. But work-life balance and that mental health, the whole mental health package, not just suicide reduction, but creating a culture of mental wellness and healthy lifestyle was bigger than in a lot of other things that came up that I've seen.
And I agree, Dave. And I think there's a couple of telling factors there. If you look at trends, like in the fire service, for example, the fire service has traditionally worked a 24/48 schedule for a very, very long time. And in fact, before that, it was a 24 on, 24 off, 2-week Kelly cycle. And then the Berkeleys came along and there was other nuanced and variances in the firehouse schedule, right? But to your point, to me, it's as much about the work-life balance today. Because the other thing is, in the fire service, we also have a culture of side hustles, right? But there's two things that have changed within the fire service segment specifically. One, people don't want to work overtime anymore. They want their days off. They don't want to get called in on forced overtime and all of that. And frankly, most of the firefighters that are coming into this business today don't want side hustles anymore either. They want to go fishing. They want to go hunting. They want to travel. They want to do all these different things. And they want to be able to leave their fire service and their job, right? And they don't want to think about it until they come back. That's what they want. So the more that we're able to do that, and the more that we're able to embrace that kind of idea, right, then the better our retention and our ability to recruit is going to be. But I also acknowledge, and I've heard this, as we think about this recruiting and retention conversation, and it is a factor. If McDonald's flipping burgers pays more than what I can make as a firefighter, where I'm putting my life on the line and all of those kinds of things, or pays more than me being a law enforcement officer, where I'm not having to work the graveyard for the first 5 years of my life because I don't have tenure to be able to hold a second shift or a first shift job, right? And I've got young kids at home and all of those kinds of things. Those are a factor. We have to acknowledge that. Now, how to solve for that? I think there's a lot of solutions there, but it's going to be very agency, community specific based upon what resources you have and all of that. So I'm not going to sit here and be naive and say, well, pay and benefits don't matter. They do. But I'll also go back to what I said previously, which is it matters if you don't have enough of it. But if you're able to pay with competitive wages, a competitive benefits package for what's commensurate within the industry, and it's better than average, right? We don't have to be the top paying public safety agency in the US in order to be able to attract and retain new people. And I think that that's the primary factor.